Yo, what's going on, guys? DeWobs here. Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Today, we have Ultron gameplay. The Ultron trailer is finally out, and I'm going to play it. I'm just going to let you watch the whole thing on your own, and then you can meet back for the breakdown, because it's a very fast-paced trailer, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, especially if you have no idea what to expect with his abilities. So, enjoy.
Termination. Challenge me, you animals. Efforts perfection. You would have failed without me. The virus takes hold. Extermination!
Okay, yeah, you might need to watch that in slow-mo, but that's what we're going to do here. We are going to go through and seriously break this character down. First of all, I love his MVP animation. Looks awesome. Those giant drone heads that you can see are actually part of his abilities. It's part of his E ability, the Imperative Patch, which is the drone that will heal his teammates. So he is a strategist, but let's look at the trailer. The primary fire is first shown, and we can see he has 6 ammo. Now, if you watch as he shoots, let's see how that ammo drains. So the way the ammo works, it's not one continuous beam. It's kind of like the Apex Legends charge rifle. If you don't know what that is, basically, you charge up the beam and it deals damage in this stage. This is very small tick damage. It's very low amounts of damage, but it seems that you do this and then you can see his reticle there. It's closing in. And then it meets to a point where it fires one final beam and deals a large amount of damage. You can see it here again. That final burst of damage is where a lot of the damage happens. In fact, we can slow this down to 0.25 speed, and you'll be able to see that really well. You can see you charge up the beam, deal a bit of damage. It has a lot of range as well. And then bam, the final pulse goes off, and that's when your ammo is depleted. So I assume you won't really have to hold it down. I assume you'll just click once with your mouse, and it will do the whole thing. I don't think you'll be able to trickle charge it, unfortunately. But just looking at the range, it seems like it's a really long-ranged ability. It does a decent amount of damage. It looks like it'll be quite fun to play with. It's a bit different. Now, I don't know what it's like at dealing multiple amounts of damage to multiple enemies. I don't know if there's a large area or, if it's only going to deal damage to one person. Now, since he is a strategist, I don't believe this can heal your teammates. It doesn't look like it from the gameplay. So let's move on to the next abilities. So next up, we get a good look at his movement, his dynamic flight. He presses shift, you dash in a direction very quickly, and then you enter a free flight mode for 8 seconds where you can fly around. But I've also just noticed he has 275 health. In the last gameplay we saw of his team up, he had 250 health. So it turns out he has 275 health, definitely better. But also he gains shield when he uses dynamic flight. When he starts his dash, he gains 50 overshields, and then it seems to last for quite a long time. It probably depletes afterwards. We unfortunately don't get to see what the cooldown of this ability is, because here you can see he evades the Wolverine, and then it cuts to another clip. So we don't know what the cooldown on this ability will be. But during this flight, you do get access to all your abilities. You get access to all your primary fire. And you do get access to that overshield. And in this clip here, we can see it looks like it only lasts about 3 seconds, the overshield. It does start depleting. So that answers those questions. Now, as for his movement in general, he can fly permanently. We can see now in this next shot here, he's not using dynamic flight, but he is hovering really high up. So you can fly. He is an actual flying character, which is nice. I guess they went through a few iterations and they ended up just wanting him to be a permanently flying character, which is nice to see. I guess during the dynamic flight, you are just slightly faster. Now let's break down this healing ability. Okay, this is where it gets a bit messy. So his E ability, the Imperative Patch, you can see you can lock onto a teammate. All you have to do is press E on them, like we can see here with Doctor Strange. So he presses E, and it immediately goes out towards him. It flies out towards him. We can see the drone following him there. And you can see you get this UI icon above the character, and it tells you which character you're healing. So it shows Doctor Strange's icon, which is good. So you know exactly who you're healing. But you see this orange outline around him. I think the fact it's orange is going to get a little confusing since it looks like an enemy ability. But this orange outline is the radius of the healing. And you can see it says 2 because there's 2 people in its radius, both Doctor Strange and Groot. So you'll see Groot actually gains some healing. Now, it's pretty slow. You can see Doctor Strange is also gaining some healing. Now, don't mind that overshield because that has nothing to do with that ability at the moment. But you can see this drone just sits on them and it passively heals them. Now, I don't think we can see here whether or not the drone has health and it can be damaged. I assume the drone can probably be damaged and that's how it gets destroyed. But what we saw there was, at any point, you can just change the drone to a different person. So it's on Doctor Strange. He has the option to put it on Groot. But you can see here quickly, he sees Punisher's low, and he just puts the drone on Punisher instead. And all it does is, it basically teleports there. And now you can see there's 3 people in its radius. You have Ultron in its radius. We also have Squirrel Girl and Punisher. Now, does Ultron actually get healing from it? It's hard to tell here. See if he gets any healing. Now, he's not low, so I don't know. He doesn't have the green bar around him, but it does say 3. So I think there's a chance that Ultron does get healed if he's in the radius of his own imperative patch. It seems like he will. Hopefully the slow-mo isn't too annoying for you. I know the frame rate gets lowered here, but let's talk about his next ability, the right click. Now this was called the Imperative Firewall on the leaks. You can see the leaks here. Imperative Firewall said it would summon drones to grant bonus health to allies within range, centered on himself and the ally marked with Imperative Patch. So here you can see we have the Imperative Patch drone on Doctor Strange, and then Ultron pops his right click. You can see he just pops it here, and these tiny little drones pop out of his back, and they create this square around him. You can see it does the same over there on Doctor Strange, and that's because anyone in the radius of Ultron and anyone in the radius of the Imperative Patch drone will then be guarded by the drone, and they will gain overshield. Now, how much overshield is it? Let's have a look. He goes from 275 all the way up to 360, which means he gets 85 overshield. Now, it might be percentage-based. It doesn't look like it is based on that. It seems everybody just gets 85 overshield. I don't think Doctor Strange got any more by the looks of it. So everyone gets 85 overshield as long as you're in the radius of Ultron, which is shown by this sort of radius here, this orange line, and in the radius of his drone, which is huge. That is a really nice shielding ability. Now, I'll play this bit in full speed. You can see how long it lasts. I believe it's 3 seconds. So here he pops it. It's still there. It's still there. And then after 3 seconds, it slowly depletes. So you get about 5 seconds worth of overshield. After 3 seconds, it starts depleting. But that is how Ultron is able to heal. It doesn't look like he can heal using his primary fire. He can only heal using this drone, but it's very good. It heals your entire team. And it's just passive, so he is kind of like an off healer, a bit like Adam Warlock. His healing will do his thing, and you can just constantly top up your teammates with your abilities. Now, here we can see a nice little team fight in the air, just shows all the flyers. That's pretty interesting. But then we have the ultimate. Now, I thought the ultimate was going to be like Moira, and it kind of is, except not exactly. When you pop your ultimate, you see all of these drones will spawn behind you, and then you can fire super fast firing shots that will heal and damage the enemies. You can see it heals cap, it damages the enemies, it does quite a lot, and it has an explosive radius. So it's not just one giant beam, it's explosive shots that deal damage and heal. So he's going to be very good at just wiping people from the game. It's going to be something you want to be scared of. I think Ultron's going to be a really good off support, and it'll be interesting to see how a flying strategist really plays in this game. So there you go, that's a full breakdown. Hopefully you enjoyed the deep dive into Ultron with me. He also does have a team-up ability with Iron Man, where Iron Man gives him a new ability where he's able to use the Unibeam to damage and heal enemies, and it's a piercing Unibeam. So that basically is a Moira ult. It's just a mini Moira ult as a team-up, which is pretty cool. So that's everything about Ultron, guys. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.